How many of you thought a few months ago, maybe on New Year's Eve as you were celebrating with friends, you thought to yourself, I think in a few months things are going to be a lot different. I'm not going to be able to go to a restaurant. I'm not going to be able to see a hockey game or go to a concert or go to church or even really talk to anybody in my family. They're not going to be able to come over to my place, and I'm going to be just fine with that. Could anybody have told you and you would have thought, yeah, that sounds about right, and here we are. What does it look like right now? Well, you've got farms shutting down, a lot of produce and a lot of meat that was in demand because restaurants were open and there was a certain amount of certain types of food that had to be ordered, and to keep up with the demand, there were large producers that were delivering. And suddenly that number got cut in half or whatever. And all of a sudden you have all these animals and all this produce, all the vegetables and fruit that are no longer needed. And so it's going to get wasted. And so in order to just accommodate, the farms are going to have to reduce the numbers, or even some of them are shutting down. Businesses are closing. A lot of small businesses that were living from paycheck to paycheck are not able to make rent. People are going to be foreclosing. They already have. You see U-Hauls everywhere, people moving out. It's not even been a month, but it's been too long for people to be able to handle this. And so, is it worth it? That's a question. I'm just going to ask a few questions. I'm not going to try to tell you this is what you have to believe, this is what you don't have to believe. There's enough people telling you to do that. You've heard my rants about mainstream media, and I think it's worth asking, why are people saying this kind of thing? Why is one major news source saying this and another major news source saying something completely different, or even the opposite? Because they both can't be true. And so you have to choose, well, I'm going to believe this one, but not that one. And so I'm not even going to get into what people are saying about what is true and what isn't, but I'm just going to talk about where we are. We are at a place where the economy is threatened, and we're in shutdown, and people are complying. And it sounds like people are saying, a lot of them are saying, you know what, the only way we're going to get out of this is if we're going to have a vaccine. And the only way that people are going to be able to go back to normal and go to concerts and movies and so on is if we all take this vaccine. Are you willing to take that vaccine? I'm not going to get into why that isn't a good thing to do. But what if there are other requirements in taking the vaccine? Some of you know where I'm going with this, and I'm actually not going to really go there. But is there an agenda? Who could make money from all this? Who's making money from a vaccine? Who's making money from pushing the COVID news? Which news agencies are making money? How much are they getting paid? How much are politicians getting paid? Who's paying them? Is the World Health Organization to be trusted? Can we trust China, a country that has a long history of oppressing its own citizens? We're shutting down free speech. The riots, well, not the riots, but the protests were shut down. People aren't allowed to say things. I had a very awkward time talking to a friend of mine who lives in China last week, and I had to do it on Zoom, and we couldn't say certain things. You can't talk about the corrupt government. He could be in a lot of trouble if you do that. He could get sent, he'll be shipped out of the country probably the next day. They watch everything you do there. Is that happening here? Are people spying on you? Where is your security? What hope do you have about the future? Do you have hope for this economy? Is it going to bounce back? What's going to happen? Do we care? The Bible talks about a lot of these type of things. And ultimately, there's a reason why God has told us things are going to happen ahead of time. I believe one of the major reasons he does that is so that we have the ability to trust him. Because if he were to say, just like all of us, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what this is going to look like in a month from now. I don't know if they open things back up and COVID jumps back and they shut the side aid down again. Are we going to do this every year? Does every winter look like when flu season starts, we're going to just shut things down to try to accommodate? Can the economy last? Will we have any RSPs or GICs or any of that stuff that our future is depending on? What about our leaders? Are they to be trusted? Can we believe what they're telling us? Because many of them are saying different things, so somebody's not telling the truth. Can you trust God? Can you trust him? If he knows the future, if he knows everything that ever happened and everything that will happen, if he knows how many molecules are in the sun and how many are in every star, in every galaxy, in every corner of the universe, if he knows who you are before you were even born, and I'm quoting the Bible about a lot of these things, if he knows all things, is he a good source to go to? Is he somebody that you can ask and actually get an answer from? I'm going to go a step further. If he loves you, is it worth getting to know him? If the most powerful being in the entire universe, who knew you before you were born, and who loves you and proved it by taking everything that you and I have ever done, everything that we ever will do, and put it on his own son that he loved from before creation, and burdened him with that, and then killed him to put an end to those things so that our sin was paid for. If that person loves us that much, is he worth talking to? Is he worth approaching? Is he worth devoting the rest of your life to? Is he worth taking all these cares and concerns and worries and fears and putting them at his feet and saying, Lord, I don't know the future, but you do, and I can trust you with that? Can you trust the person that promises, if you believe in him, that he will rescue you from this crazy world one day and take you to heaven where you will never ever again cry or suffer or fall into temptation? It almost sounds too good to be true, but it is. It is true. He loves you that much. He knows everything. He cares about you. He cares about me. Why wouldn't we turn to him? Why are we holding back? How could it be that we would actually just keep him at arm's length? Why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense. Please turn to him. Jesus loves you. You've heard it. It's true.